It is Sunday, May 31, 2026, and this is the High Road, Logistics, and Leadership. I'm Dan Miller, and I treat every shipping lane like a high-stakes chess match.
I'm Elena Rossi.
I'm Buck Reynolds.
You're listening to Jules Sterling. We have a great show for you today.
Look, yesterday was an absolute grinder. We were digging into those Section 301 investigations in Vietnam and that UPS Mexico nearshoring play. It felt like the pieces were finally moving into position on the board.
Right.
But today, the regulatory refs just threw a flag that might bench half the league. We've got a massive digital infrastructure failure at the FMCSA. The ocean lanes are overheating way before the whistle. And bottom line, the Supreme Court just stripped the armor off every broker in the country.
It was only a matter of time before that armor cracked, Dan. Complacency is the precursor to catastrophe.
I mean, the thing is, I'm the one usually telling you people that the wheels are falling off. And today, the government basically handed me the wrench.
Well, let's see if we can bolt it back together. Buck, you're the one who spent 27 years smelling failing wheel bearings. Start us off with this modus disaster at the FMCSA.
Here's the deal. For years, the FMCSA has been promising this ultimate modernization tool. They call it modus. It's supposed to replace the old 30-year-old patchwork of the URS and the licensing and insurance system. And look, I'm the first to say those systems were junk. They were vulnerable to every chameleon carrier and double brokering scammer in the lower 48. But the FMCSA flipped the switch on May 14th, and it's been a total blackout.
Wait, a total blackout? Like people can't even get in?
Locked out. Carriers are getting unauthorized access errors for their own USDOT numbers. They've got this new identity verification system using login.gov and Clear, the airport biometric folks.
Great. So now you need a thumbprint to update your MCS 150?
Exactly. But the tech is failing. We're looking at a backlog that is threatening the compliance status of nearly 400,000 motor carriers. I mean, the thing is, if you can't verify who you are, the system shows you as unfit or inactive.
And if they're showing as inactive, that's a liability trigger. If I'm a safety manager and I see a carrier in my system whose registration didn't update because of a software glitch, I can't let them load. Actually, you see, the risk of a negligent hiring claim, especially with the news we're going to get to later, is just too high.
My thing is, I've got shippers calling me daily. They see their regular carriers dropping off the approved list, and they want to know why. It's hard to tell a VP of supply chain that the federal government basically broke the internet for trucking.
It's like a stadium-wide power outage right at kickoff. Bottom line, if 400,000 carriers can't prove they exist, the capacity crunch isn't just a market trend. It's a bureaucratic mandate.
I mean, the thing is, veteran drivers, guys who've been safe for 30 years, are being treated like criminals by a computer. They can't do their biannual updates. They can't file insurance. It's the worst software release I've seen since they mandated the first round of ELDs. Maybe worse.
It is worse because it's a single point of failure. Before, if one system was down, you had paper trails or alternate portals. Now, it's modus or nothing.
Well, while the ground game is stuck in a login screen, the ocean market is playing a completely different game.
Talk to me, Jules. You're seeing the early peak start to boil over, right?
Oh, it's beyond boiling, Dan. It's sort of an overheat phase. Usually, we don't talk about peak season until late July or August, but as of today, May 31st, the market is behaving like it's mid-October. The Shanghai Containerized Freight Index, the SCFI, surged 16% this week, or at 2,228 points. That is double what we were seeing earlier this year.
16% in a week? Oh, that's not a price increase, that's a heist.
Well, it's a mix of things. The carriers are being incredibly disciplined with capacity. They're cutting sailings to keep supply tight. But the real driver is fear. Shippers are so worried about a total capacity crunch in Q3 that they're pulling orders forward. It's a pay-to-play environment now.
I mean, if they're pulling orders forward, they're likely skipping the standard vetting processes for forwarders just to get a spot on a vessel. That's where I get nervous.
Pay to play. I mean, here's the deal. If I want a box from Shanghai to LA, what am I actually shelling out today?
You're looking at about $3,473 per 40-foot container to LA. If you're going to New York, it's closer to $4,600, and that's just the base rate. We're seeing spot rates on some lanes double since March.
All right, here's the play. Look, the return routes, like LA back to Shanghai, are stagnant at $790. We are literally shipping air back across the Pacific because the export demand from Asia is so lopsided. It's a structural imbalance that's costing American companies billions.
And it's not just the cost of the freight. It's the cost of the insurance premiums when you're rushing cargo through ports that are starting to see operational gridlock.
Exactly. It's a density play. My clients are trying to build these tariff war chests using their Supreme Court refunds from earlier this year, but the ocean carriers are essentially draining those chests before they can even be spent.
It's a full court press. The big retailers like Walmart are trying to use those refunds for price rollbacks, but the logistics costs are eating the margin. Bottom line, if you didn't lock in your rates 6 months ago, you're playing defense with no pads.
Always the same story. The big guys squeeze the middle, and the middle squeezes the drivers.
Look, before we move on to the actual legal earthquake that happened this week, we need to talk about the people who keep the lights on in this room.
Efficiency in logistics requires a solid foundation. This show is powered by the stack developed by Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media.
We really appreciate the work he does under the hood. Support the architect behind the code. Visit our Patreon at patreon.com/neuralnetworkmedia.
You can get a free trial and, my favorite part, the daily briefing PDF. It has all the stats on the SCFI, the ISM reports, everything we talk about delivered right to your inbox. It's the playbook you need to win.
Okay, we need to have a serious talk about the Supreme Court. Because while everyone was looking at port congestion, the legal landscape for freight brokers just changed forever.
Oh, the safety lady is taking the floor. What happened, Elena?
A 9-0 decision, Buck. Unanimous. The case is Montgomery v. Caribe Transport II, and the ruling is a death blow to the old broker shield. For decades, brokers relied on the FAAA to say they couldn't be sued under state law for negligent hiring. They claimed federal law preempted everything related to prices, routes, and services.
Right. So if a broker hired a carrier and that carrier had an accident, the broker was sort of protected?
Actually, they were very protected. But Justice Amy Coney Barrett just wrote that the safety exception in federal law allows states to hold brokers liable. If a broker hires a carrier with known safety red flags, poor basic scores, conditional ratings, a history of HOS violations, they can be sued for millions in state court.
9-0. That's a total shutout. It's like the Supreme Court just handed a megaphone to every plaintiff's attorney in America.
And look at the fallout. C.H. Robinson, the biggest freight broker in the game, started purging their network yesterday. Carriers whose FMCSA basic scores exceed intervention thresholds are getting notified of immediate removal from the Navisphere platform.
Well, here's the deal. How is a carrier supposed to fix a conditional rating if the MODIS system we talked about earlier is broken? They're getting fired by Robinson for a score they can't even log in to appeal.
I mean, it's a nightmare scenario, Buck, but Robinson has no choice. Under this ruling, if they keep a risky carrier in their system and that carrier kills someone, Robinson's entire balance sheet is on the hook for negligent hiring.
Well, This is going to drive up costs for everyone. Safety isn't free. If we have to vet every carrier with this level of scrutiny, the cheap lanes are going to disappear. My retail clients aren't going to like the price tag that comes with this level of compliance.
Here's the play. It's a two-tiered market now. You're either certified and safe, or you're out. Bottom line, the days of just clicking accept on the cheapest truck on a load board are dead. If you don't have a human in the loop, or at least a very smart AI, checking those safety scores, you're gambling with the company's life.
It's about time the industry took indemnity seriously. For years, brokers have been acting like they're just tech platforms with no responsibility for what's happening on the asphalt. The Supreme Court just reminded them that they are part of the transportation chain.
I mean, I don't like seeing my buddies lose loads, but I've also seen some trucks that had no business being on the I-80. If this forces the chameleon shops out of business because they can't get a load from the big brokers, then maybe the road gets a little safer for the rest of us.
Maybe. But it's going to be a bloodbath for the independent owner ops who are caught in the tech glitches. It's a high-stakes game of musical chairs, and the music just stopped. Now it's time for the week ahead, our Sunday segment, where we look at the strategic moves on the board for the week of June 1st. And look, the calendar is packed.
Dan's got his coach's whistle out. What are we looking at for Monday?
Monday, June 1st, we get the ISM Manufacturing PMI. This is the primary gauge for the health of the industrial sector. In May, it was sitting at 52.7. That's expansion territory. Solid, right? But the June release is expected to hover around 52.6. Look, the sub-indices are what matter. New orders and production. Manufacturers like John Deere and Caterpillar are dealing with these shifting trade policies we discussed yesterday. If that number dips toward 50, it means the onshoring boom is hitting a wall of high interest rates.
I mean, the thing is, if people aren't making stuff, we aren't hauling stuff. It's that simple.
Exactly. Then on Wednesday, June 3rd, we have the EIA Petroleum Status Report. Diesel is the lifeblood. We saw a 7-cent drop recently, down to $5.52 a gallon. But with the early peak on the ocean and the rush to move containers, demand is gonna spike.
So we should expect fuel surcharges to start creeping back up just as the spot rates are hitting their stride?
It's a double whammy, Jules. And the final play to watch, the big one, is the UP-NSS merger. The Surface Transportation Board formally accepted the application, but they put it in abeyance. That's fancy talk for we're pausing the clock.
The STB chair Patrick Fuchs basically called the application incomplete. 6 state attorneys general are fighting it, claiming it'll kill competition in neutral gateways like St. Louis.
It's an $85 billion monster that's currently stuck in the mud. If that 50,000-mile transcontinental railroad happens, it rewrites the map for every long-haul trucker in the country. If it doesn't, it's a massive failure of strategic consolidation. That's the week ahead for this week.
Actually, looking at everything we've talked about today, the tech failures, the legal shifts, the rail gridlock, it really feels like the industry is being compressed from all sides.
I mean, the thing is, we're so busy looking at the screens and the court rulings that we're losing the fundamentals. You still need a driver who can smell a failing wheel bearing. You still need a loader who knows how to balance a reefer.
Well, and you still need the diplomat, right? Someone to bridge the gap between the trucker speak and the VP speak. My job just got 10 times harder today, but it's more important than ever.
That's the bottom line. It's a human industry. Look, we can have all the AI in the world, and we'll talk more about torque robotics and motive later this week. But at the end of the day, freight moves on handshakes. Even if those handshakes now require a biometric verification and a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling.
Hopefully, that handshake is also covered by a very robust umbrella policy.
I'll just stick to my roses. They don't need a DOT number to grow.
Not yet, Buck. Not yet. That's all for today's High Road Logistics and Leadership. Bottom line, the negligent hiring ruling from SCOTUS is a game changer that makes every broker a safety officer overnight. And if you aren't auditing your carriers today, you're playing without a helmet.
Goodbye.
Peace out.
Later.
Keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down.